Destiny is in the house. It was your destiny to be here. I had to do that joke just to get it out of my system.
That was the second time you did it.
I know. I had to get it out of my... We haven't done it on cameras, though.
I know.
We haven't done it on cameras.
Yeah.
I know you get that all the time, and I'm a cornball, so...
Cornball. I never heard of cornball.
Yeah, I'm a cornball.
Yes.
I do corny dad jokes, and I think that makes me a cornball.
Okay.
Yo, I'm glad you're here.
Thank you for having me. I'm super happy to be here.
I was so impressed. We first met. We had you come up and meet all the DJs and all the mixers at Power 106, and when I got the small taste of what I got of you as an artist, I was blown away.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it was. You're really amazing.
Thank you so much.
And I go pretty far back with some of your folks, Stereotypes, DJ Verman, and I know first and foremost Stereotypes. If they're working with you, you got something going on, because those guys are amazingly talented. First and foremost, how did you get into music? Tell your story from where are you from?
All right, I'm just gonna spill it all.
Go ahead.
So I'm from a small town called Lodi, California. It's in Northern California, in between a town called Stockton and Sacramento. So right in the middle. I'm just from there. There's nothing there. Like, Lodi is known for the wine. It's a wine country. So like, people will come out to Lodi to wine taste, and we have vineyards and factories and all that stuff. So that's mainly what we're known for. But yeah, there's nothing there. I was born and raised in church. My dad's a worship leader, and he's also a musician, so like, he plays piano and drums and he sings. So growing up in church, like, my mom is also a singer too. She sang in the choir. But growing up in church and always being around music, it was literally just like all I knew, pretty much, because I was in church almost every day, like with my family, because they were always there. So it was just kind of like in my blood already. But I never really took an actual I never really gave it any attention until I was probably about like 4 or 5. Like, my dad would like gift me like drum sets for Christmas, and like, when I was a baby, like, my parents would put out pots and pans around me and give me spoons, and I just bang on the pans like that, and just to get like a beat in my head or something like that. So I was doing that, but I never really was in love with it. I just liked banging on it. So that's all I did. But when I was 10, I had a guitar, and this was when Justin Bieber was starting to come up in his career, and I seen him playing guitar and singing.
Baby.
It was actually before Baby. It was when he wasn't even who he was. He was just posting covers. So I was 10 years old. I was in 6th grade. I was homeschooled. I had nothing to do after I did my homework in the morning, so I would just binge watch YouTube videos, and came across him, and I instantly Did
you discover him before Usher?
I don't think so. I think
it was around the same time.
I think it was when One Time was out and all
Gotcha.
that.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, so I seen a video of him playing guitar, and I just was like, I got like kind of inspired in a way, so I was like, let me go see if I can do the same. I grabbed my guitar, and I sat, and I watched on the computer, and I was just copying his strumming. I was copying his chords and the fingers and how he was playing the guitar. And I was like, okay, I think I got that down. I was like, let me click on another video. So I clicked on another video, and did the same. And one night, my dad came home from work, and he seen me playing, and he was like, whoa. He was like, what are you doing? And I was like, Dad, I just learned this song. Like,
thanks to Justin Bieber.
Literally, thanks to Justin Bieber. He was like, how did you learn it? I was like, I was just watching his fingers. I was like, it was like, yeah, like, I don't know what I'm playing or anything. And he was like, all right, like, let me take you to my piano, and I'm going to show you what you're playing. So he took me to his piano, and he was like, all right, play that. I'd play a chord. He was like, all right, that's a D, that's a C, that's an A minor, da-da-da-da-da. And once he told me the chords, it literally stuck to my head. And so after that, I became, like, super addicted to learning more songs. So every day I was learning a new song, and my dad seen that I was progressing in my guitar playing. So he was like, how would you like to play at church this Sunday? And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah, like, come in, like, you can go to worship practice.
This is, you're 10 years old.
I was 10 years old, yeah, I was 10 years old. The guitar was bigger than me. I had to sit on a stool and play it, like, on my lap. Like, yeah, it was crazy, but obviously I was down, and so I was like, absolutely. So I did that, and every Sunday my dad would have me do it on every week.
Featured you.
In front of the whole congregation, and so I got my chops up just because I was doing it so much from church. And then got into my youth group when I was 12. I was playing and singing in youth group, like things like that. So church was really like the birth of me and music.
We have some parallels. It was funny when I heard you bring up the pots and pans, because my dad, my parents, divorced when I was young, and I go visit my dad for the summers and holidays, and my dad would put coffee cans. You know how they had the rubber lid?
Yeah.
And there'd be different size cans, and I would play them with pencils, with unsharp.
Oh my God! Wait, that's dope.
And they'd have different tones because of, and I think my dad was smart in the sense that he was like, if I give him some pots and pans, this is gonna be loud as hell.
Yeah.
I got a better idea. So he put together, and I would bang them, and I was probably your age if not younger.
Yeah.
And then same thing. My mom was really involved in the church. She was not to the extent of your family, but I sang in the choir in church, and then our drummer at our church got rid of her drum set, and was selling it for super cheap, and my mom bought the drum set from the church. So,
Sweet.
So when I was hearing you telling this story, I didn't want to interrupt you, but yeah, so are you? Do you still? When you go back home, are your parents still involved in the church? Do you still participate?
My parents split up as well when I was young. So my dad is still involved, but my mom just kind of does her own thing now. But my dad is still a worship leader at a different church now. But yeah, he's still doing the thing.
And will you still go up there and participate?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Awesome.
Yeah, like even when I started working with Stereotypes when I was 17, and I'm 20 now. So
but you started working with
Stereotypes.
Oh, Stereotypes.
Yeah, when
yes.
I was 17.
I misunderstood you for a second.
It's all good.
Yes, Stereotypes. Those guys that I mentioned earlier that I know very well. How'd that hookup come about?
Crazy.
They walked in your church. They were randomly on a church tour.
But it was from church though. Like
really?
The drummer from our worship band in church moved to LA to work to be a producer because he was into music too. And I didn't know this, but he got an internship at the Stereotypes studio. And we were really close to him and his family, so when he left, we're like, okay, like, bye, like, good luck, type thing. I was 17, I was posting YouTube covers of me playing guitar and singing, and I posted a cover of Location by Khalid, and it was actually a mashup with Drake and Daniel Caesar as well, so I did 3 songs in one. I was playing it on guitar and singing and posted it. He found it and showed it to Germ from the Stereotypes, and he was like, hey, like, this is my friend Destiny, she's from Lodi, she just posted this video, like, let me know what you think, da-da-da. He was doing this behind my back, I had no idea, and then I guess Jeremy showed the rest of the guys, and they were into it, so, Zach gets a hold of my friend David. David filmed my YouTube covers for me on his camera, and David goes, oh, you remember Zach Wasmit? I'm like, yeah, and he was like, oh, well, he showed these producers that worked with Bruno Mars that just did That's What I Like by Bruno Mars, like a video, and they think you're cool, and I was like, oh, dope. I was like, that's good, tight, Really wasn't looking into meeting anybody. I was just like so in my own zone because I was like trying to be independent and like do things on my own, and I was like.
And how old were you at this point?
17. It was like 16 I started writing. 17 was when I was a senior in high school, and I was like, I got to do something. I'm not trying to go to school. Like. And
now you're
20.
20.
Yeah,
gotcha.
I'm 20 now. But yeah, so Stereotypes, like, I was just like, all right, like, let me look them up and see if it's worth saying what's up.
You saw some of those hit records. You were like, it's definitely worth it.
The one that got me was Somebody to Love by Justin Bieber. I was like, damn, they did a Bieber song, and I was like, all right. And That's What I Like was one of my favorite songs at the time. So I was like, okay, Mom. I'm like, listen, these guys want to meet me. Can I meet them? And then my mom did their research, and I have a lot of tias, so my mom sent it out to all of my tias, and they were looking into them. They're like, yeah, but we have to go with her. And so it was me, my mom, and 2 of my tias. We all went to their studio about a week later in Santa Monica. And I walked in with my guitar, and I was just like, hello.
Did y'all drive down to LA?
Yeah, we drove, yeah. We drove, and we were just like, hey, like, how's everybody doing? It was like my first time kind of really in like a meeting with.
And this was 17.
17.
So you guys have been rocking now for a good 2.5 years.
Yeah, definitely.
Gotcha.
Yes, it was literally just a normal conversation. Like, they just asked about myself. I told them some stuff about me.
So they're normal. They're not aliens.
No, they're not aliens.
Gotcha. it was just a normal conversation.
Yeah.
They didn't reach out and try to grab me and take me to another planet.
No, that's why my answer there.
Yeah.
It would have went crazy.
So it sounds like your family is a big reason why you've have been willing participants, if you will, in your success, at least the start of your success, because I think it's going to go a long way. I was telling a buddy of mine, Vinny, shout to Vinny the freaking Rican, which he's a part of my podcast at times, and today we decided I was gonna do this one on my own, and I was telling him about you. I'm like, yo, she's amazing. I've run across a lot of artists over the course of my career as a DJ and as a producer, and there's something sometimes you see in somebody that tells you like, I don't. This might be a here today, gone tomorrow type thing, and then there's other people like you that I've met that something stands out, and I saw it with you, and immediately could see why the Stereotypes and other people would want to work with you, because you have first of all, you have an amazing vibe, and then when I heard your music, and especially when I caught part of your live guitar performance, I think during that time I had to step out of our meeting to go get on the air and do something, but I came back in like midway through, and I was just like, wow, and you have, first of all, you have a very original style, and that's what I want to segue into, is like, talk a little bit about your style and how that came about, and where you see yourself as an artist, and who you see yourself as far as like your style.
Yeah, I mean, as far as my style, like my music, at least, I listen to a lot of different genres of music. Like my sister is a lot older than me. We have a big age gap, and she listened to like 90s R&B and like all that. She had them burnt on a CD, and like she would play it in the car, and she'd drop me off from school. So like
90s R&B, I love it.
Yeah, that was an influence, and along with that, like my mom's Mexican, so like my mom was always playing Zapp and Roger, and so I definitely like love like the old school vibe, and I listened to obviously pop, Justin Bieber, Ed Sheeran, Tori Kelly, things, Ariana Grande, but then I also listened to R&B like Usher, Neo, Kehlani, and rap, Post Malone, Drake. So like it was a mixture of all those sounds that I wanted to create into one to make my own lane in the industry. So like my music don't sound too similar, like like I heard that already. Like I don't like this song sounds like the rest. Like so when I was 17, I was really trying to figure that out myself. Like I said, I wanted to do independent, but it was so freaking hard, and Stereotypes literally came in at the right time. And when I met with them that night with my aunts, like that same night, they were like, yeah, like we want to work. So literally a week later, we ended up working, and they kept on inviting me back to LA. So I was going out to LA once a month for a week, working with them and just expressing and telling them how I wanted things to sound. And they took their freaking creative genius minds and mashed them with mine, and literally just developed a sound. And we started like really figuring out like, okay, we got something.
Tell me this, explain to everybody listening and watching, when you're developing, quote unquote, developing a sound, what goes into that?
I think,
and where did you guys start? When y'all sat down and you said, okay, the first time y'all sat down and really started figuring out what it was that you wanted to do and what they saw you doing, it's a little bit of mix of both, as you put it.
Yeah, so like the first couple songs that we wrote together were they were obviously just trying to get a feel for me and feel like, okay, what is this?
Do they say, hey, sing something real quick? Or do they say, play something? How'd they get a feel for you?
I mean, I think it was definitely play something. Like the first record we did was just like a summer song about being from the 209 and stuff from my hometown, and it all started off with guitar, and then they added production on it, and we're like, all right, this is cool. That's why they kept inviting me back, because they were like we can definitely put something together. So mainly
there's something here.
Mainly we would just start with production, and they'd all come in a room, including myself, and we would just make the beat first and the music, and we were just like, okay, this sounds pretty tight. And then it was my first time working with songwriters, so songwriters were coming in the room and like using their like input and all that, so it was cool. We were just having ideas bouncing back and forth to each other.
And before that, you had written your own stuff.
Yeah.
And you had recorded stuff prior to meeting up with Stereotypes. So they got to hear stuff that you had come up with on your own.
Yeah, they heard one song that I had put out by myself that I've written and like co-produced with someone else on it. They had heard that song on Spotify and stuff. I put it out on everything. But and then they asked me to sing like live versions of songs that I've written on guitar and piano.
Now, did you get into mentioning that somebody co-produced something for you? I'm assuming that you went to a producer and said, "Hey, I have an idea for a song. I want it to kind of sound like this."
Yeah, dude. It was I was like, God, because I was investing in myself, so I was making money and like being like careful on how much like I was trying to give like the producers, because obviously they want a little something. And there's this one producer that worked in Stockton, the city next to mine, and he like did like some stuff for like E40 and all that, and I heard of him through a friend, and I was like, let me just like reach out to him on Instagram and see if he'll be interested. And so he was interested, and I went to a studio. And they charged like $50 an hour, and I got the studio room for like 2 hours, and the producer met up with me there. My mom was there. The producer met up with me there.
This is when you were 16, 17?
I was 16 at this time. So yeah. And we created the beat together.
So you would basically, was he working with Fruity Loops, Logic, Pro Tools, Ableton? What was it?
I think it was Ableton, yeah.
That what I wanted to ask you, did you ever, working with another producer and kind of giving somebody your vision that, you know, how you want your song to go is way different from actually kind of sitting down and doing it yourself? Because was there a lot of like, he's almost there with what I want,
yeah,
but it's not
because
quite...
in my brain it's like, I'm like, it's good, but it's not in my brain, you know?
Did you eventually get to the point where you learned any programs and got a setup of your own?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna tell you a story. When I was 16, like, before I met these guys, I would actually busk on the Santa Monica Promenade. So I would go to Santa Monica every weekend and put my guitar case out and sing in the streets on 3rd Street.
You come all the way from up north?
Yeah, every weekend my parents would drive me out here and do it. So I was doing that, and I was getting like $300 a weekend. So I was like saving that, and I was like, okay, like I want to make my own music now, because I was doing covers for the longest, and I was like, it's time for me to buckle down and get the shit done, like, for real.
And $300 a weekend really means $70 a weekend, because it costs $250 to come down here and eat and gas and all that.
Oh no, my parents never asked for anything.
That's like, amazing.
Yeah, my parents just believed in me so much. They just did it.
So you saved up your money. What was the first program that you...
Well, my first program was Pro Tools. I bought Pro Tools. Like, it was like $900.
That's the must-have. Gotta have it first.
Yeah. But I didn't know anything, yo. Like I knew that Pro Tools was something I could record and produce on, but like now that I'm in the industry more, like Pro Tools, nobody produces on Pro Tools, and I was like, damn. I was like, okay.
Well, Pro Tools is what you end off on a lot of times. You bounce everything.
Yeah,
into
so
Pro Tools.
I was just
Most people.
like downloading loops from like GarageBand and stuff, and like using GarageBand.
You were doing it the raw way.
I was doing it the raw way, and I was only posting my stuff on SoundCloud. Like, I was afraid to post it on iTunes because I was like, what if this is not good? And I was doing it on SoundCloud. But yeah, so I literally like just invested in myself by busking and saving money. Got my own like recording softwares and MIDI keyboards to produce. I got like a studio mic so I can record from home.
A USB mic?
Yeah, like literally just plugs into my freaking laptop, and I was able to record whatever I wanted. So that's what I was doing.
And you could travel with it.
And I could travel with it. Like, I took it on like planes with me and stuff. It was cool.
So fast forward, you end up, you meet the Stereotypes. You got your acoustic game down pretty good. You're okay with the live unplugged thing. You know a little bit about MIDI and recording. You're familiar with Pro Tools. I'm assuming at that point, 2.5 years you've been in the game, so to speak. A bedroom artist, so to speak, for like 3 years. As far as equipment's concerned, but you had been doing it a lot longer, acoustically. But let's just call it 3 years that you had been sitting down messing with some equipment. At that point, I'm assuming it made it a little easier for you to understand how to convey to them what it is that you were looking for. And I know them pretty well. very familiar with everything that they've done, and we actually go back many years, and I know how smart those guys are. I'm pretty sure it was easy for you to sit down with them for the most part. And was it one of those things where you were like, yes, that's what I'm looking for?
Well, sometimes, but sometimes I like was thinking to myself like, God, like, really? Like, really? Like, no offense, but like,
thanks, dude.
in the beginning,
Sorry, John.
In the beginning, I was just like just some things I was just kind of.
But did you voice that as you were
No, because I really, really like. I knew
you wanted to give it a chance.
I wanted to give it a chance, so I literally was like, okay, I have my thoughts, but you know what? These guys have been in the game for the longest, so I'm just gonna go and do it. You know.
So was there times where you gave it a chance, you went all the way to the end, you were like, yeah, I just don't like it. Just say yes.
Yeah.
So because let me tell you why. That's what the process is.
Yes.
And let me tell you, that happens with an Eminem Dre collabo. That happens with a Kanye Jay-Z. That happens with, Jermaine Dupri and Mariah Carey. That happens with Neo and insert producers here. So that process is necessary because at that point you guys are building and getting to know each other, and and I bet you that's when they start realizing, like, I see what she likes, I see what she wants, I see what she wants to do. And then there's a mesh of what they see for you as well.
Tell them the strong ones story.
Okay.
Yeah, tell us the Strong One story.
The
What's
Strong
that?
One story. Okay, so there's a song on my EP called Strong Ones, and it was a time, I think it was like during the holidays. We didn't all see each other for about like a month and a half or something like that. It was a long time.
After the initial meeting.
Oh, no. Like, this was I signed with you guys yet?
No, we just been working.
Yeah, we were just working. Like, we literally worked for like a whole year together.
That's awesome.
And I didn't even sign to them within that year. Like, it took a long time.
That's how you know somebody really, is about the music, and nobody wants their time wasted. But the fact that, you guys were just working organically and just having fun doing music, seeing what you could do, that means a lot.
Yeah, it was cool, like, definitely, like, because they always invited me back, and I'm like, why me? Like, just a girl, like, from California. Like, why? I don't know.
They saw that magic.
They loved me. So, anyways, fast forward. So, Strong Ones, it was a time where we didn't see each other for a long time. And we get back in the studio, and we're about to do a session the beginning of the week, and they were just like, so, like, what's been going on? Like, how are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm good. Like, da-da-da. And they're like, do you have any, like, anything that's happened to you, like, over the past week and a half? Like, because we always spark conversations before we start a record so we can just have energy and see if anything inspires us in the midst of that. So that's exactly what we were doing. We're just talking, and I was like, man, like, if I'm gonna be honest, I'm like, nah, I'm not good. I was like, this past month and a half has been the worst time of my life. And they're like, what happened? So, like, I'm able to share the story. So, like, there was a time, it all happened at once. Like, my sister lost her house, so she had to move in with me and my mom. And then, like, my niece was getting bullied in school. My mom was, like, almost got diagnosed with cancer and things like that. So there was health problems with my mom. My sister financially wasn't doing well. My mom financially wasn't doing well, and we just wanted her to be healthy. So it's like, how are we going to get this money? Like, things like that. And my niece is getting in fights. Like, girls are jumping her in school and stuff. And I was like, damn, like, my job as an aunt and as a sister and a daughter is to take care of them. And so I told I have a little 4-year-old nephew. At the time, he was 3. I told my sister, I'm like, listen, she's a single mom. She raises them by herself. I'm like, I will help with the kids, like, whatever you need me to do. I wasn't working or anything.
That's where that equipment that you could travel with comes in handy.
Right.
You're like, I'll come over there as long as you need, as long as I can bring my keyboard.
Yeah, right. So I was like, I'll do whatever you need me to do. So she was like, okay, well, can you help me wake up in the morning, take care of the kids, and take them to school? And I was like, absolutely. So I would take my niece and my nephew to school, and I was trying to sell things online so I can give my mom money for whatever she needed.
Wow.
Like, things like that. And so I literally was putting all of my time and energy into making sure my family was good, but then at the end of the day, I literally found myself like mentally and physically drained. I was like,
well, as a what, 18,
I was
19?
18.
That's a lot.
Yeah, dude. Like I was like, oh my God. And I'm trying to make my dreams come true on top of that. So I was like, what? Like I was so lost and I was hurt. Like, but this is my family and like I want to take care of them. So I was literally telling them that, and I literally just broke down and started crying in front of them. So that like, I've never cried in front of them before. I've never talked to them on a personal level before, and that definitely like broke like a barrier and opened up a whole new level of a relationship with them. So they were like, damn, like I didn't know you were going through that, D. Like I'm sorry, and I'm like, nah, it's all good. I was like, but I'm here to create music, and I'm like, this is my escape. This is my outlet to, you know, like express my feelings and my emotions. So we literally got inspired off that, and I had a songwriter in the room named Whitney Phillips, and she was like, dang, it's almost like it's the strong ones that need people the most. And I was like, yeah.
Oh, that's
I was like, yeah, it is, you know. And so literally from that, like we named the song Strong Ones, and the song doesn't really like get that much like recognition on the EP. Yeah, that song was really a heartfelt song. I literally broke down like.
By the way, it's not if this video comes out; it's when it comes out.
When this video comes out, like.
Yeah, this is it.
This song was hit home for me.
I want you to continue, but I love savoring the moment because I already see what's going to happen with you, and I really believe that people are going to come back years later and look at this interview and they're going to say, wow, you know. And the reason I wanted to sit with you, and I already knew that I wanted to ask you, you know, some pretty deep, you know. And we're nowhere near done yet, but some pretty intimate details about how you got into music and your journey up until now, because I think it's important that story, you know, be told, you know. And I love these moments because I see where you're heading, and your vibe, you have a very, very, I'm what's the word I'm looking for? I really feed off of energy. And I your energy's really good, and I you know, I think that it's not surprising to me to hear you say all the things that you're saying today, but yeah, this video is gonna be it's definitely gonna be out, and I want to ask. I have a lot more to ask you, but I want you to continue. I didn't mean to get sidetracked, but you went through a lot. You guys came. You heard her mention Strong Ones, and at that point, you guys.
Yeah, like it really. That moment really, like I said, broke like a barrier between us. Like they knew more about me and my family back home. They never knew my lifestyle and how I lived back home. So that gave them more of a perspective on what my life is like, and obviously more inspiration to write more better, if that makes sense. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, that was pretty much it. Like that moment was life changing.
That was a pivotal moment.
It was.
Yeah, that pivotal is the word. Yeah, for sure.
Kicked off of.
John is in the background from Stereotypes talking.
No,
guys.
don't say sorry.
He's saying that it was a pivotal moment for sure, because at that point now you guys have a more of an intimate relationship. You know, outside of music. On a personal level. Yeah. Because like, you know, the strong people that are able to do the kind of things that you described that you were doing for your family. Really do sometimes get overlooked, because I think it's one of these things where it's like, oh, if she's able to do this and this and this, she's good. She doesn't need our help. She doesn't need, you know. And I think people sometimes get lost, or because everybody's problems are the worst problems. I've always said that. And so when you have people dealing with their own things, it's very difficult for it to, you know, the things that you're doing, to break through to them, to make them realize, like, man, how is she doing all this? She probably needs some help helping these people, or even maybe at least needs a conversation. Yeah. And so that Strong Ones concept is is real.
Yeah, it definitely was. Like, I never really had a lot of friends. I always kept my circle really small, and I was like, family is the only thing I need. So the reason I feel like I just broke down and started crying was because that was my first time getting asked, like, so how are you? Like, how's everything back home? I'm like, and explaining it. That was my first time ever.
And at first,
opening up
sometimes
about it.
you know we want to say, "Oh, everything's great," because it's almost like we've been conditioned to, you know, it's bad if we put something on somebody or tell them what we're really going through, you know. Depending on where you're from and how you were raised, but I think as a general rule, we see people that just are. Just we tend to say what we think people want to hear, and in this case, you know, it seemed like you were probably doing what most people do and doing what you've always done, but like, no, I'm great.
It started
and you caught
off
yourself.
like that. It started off like that. I mean, I'm good, and then they're like, okay, well, how was like your holidays? Like, how's everything back home? How's mom? Da da da. I'm like, ugh.
Well, and you probably at that moment
Dang.
realized like I have to share this with them because I don't want them wondering like why am I feeling looking sad or why am I in a bad mood? That's called being real.
Right.
You know, and that's important in life, not just in music, but just in life in general. And that's good that you're self-aware. You're self-aware, and you in that moment realize like, hold up, I need to keep it real with them.
Yeah.
So when they embrace you,
yeah.
and you guys, how was it brought up that Strong Ones is, you know, a title for a song and we need to do something based around this? Was it right there that moment?
It was right there that moment, low key. Like, we written and recorded the song all in one night. So
the night goes on, you know, from that point on, throughout the you guys got into a session, you started recording. Did they make a track around that vibe and those emotions?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So they weren't going through their files like this one might fit, this one might fit, this one might fit.
It's never like
that.
that.
A lot of producers do that. I got something for that.
Yeah, it's never like that. We always started from fresh.
That's awesome.
Yeah, every fucking time.
It doesn't surprise me with them. So you recorded the song, and so you mentioned how it's like it's not one of your, I don't know if you use the word more popular on your EP, but
it doesn't get the most recognition.
Sometimes that's how it is.
I know.
You
There's
know?
always one.
Yeah. You throw a little twerk in there, and all of a sudden it's like, man, everybody loves the twerking song. As a DJ, I'm very, very familiar with that. So, where are you guys going from here? Like, where are you guys at now? What do you see happening in your future?
Yeah. So now, things have this whole 2019 in general.
Oh, and I'm so sorry. Hold on.
What?
How is everything with your family now?
How my family now? Well, my family's good. My mom's healthy. She's straight. She's good. My sister, my niece, and my nephew still live with my mom, so they're good, and everything has been chilling now.
Good.
So yeah,
good.
Yeah, everything's good.
Okay, so now you're in a flow with the Stereotypes. You guys are recording. You guys are vibing. You guys know each other like brothers and sisters now. And where is it going?
Well, I signed to them. And then about 6 months later, 6 or 7 months later, signed to RCA.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Nice.
I've been with RCA for about a year now, a little over a year, just a year in November. And then with that opportunity, I had the chance to move to LA. So in the beginning of 2019, I moved out to LA, got my own crib, like things like that. So that was tight.
So you're out here solo?
So out here solo dolo.
Really?
Yeah, solo dolo and doing adult things, like getting mail.
You're adulting.
Mail. Like, getting mail is the weird thing. I'm like, why is Geico sending me a letter? Like, I'm just like, this is crazy. Like, but yeah, like, I've learned a lot this year, music-wise, and just life in general, living on my own. Like, 19, like, I literally just kind of quickly just got kind of thrown out. Like, okay, you should move to LA here.
That's because you're talented.
Thank you.
That's because you're talented. It's a good thing. When things happen quickly, as long as it may have seemed, but that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you got to deal with RCA. You find yourself up at Power 106 in a meeting DJs. How was that experience when you first came up to Power?
For Power 106 has been like one of like the biggest stations for me. Like I know how powerful you guys are. That was no pun intended either. Like
she got a little bit of cornball in her too. I love it.
No, but I have done radio runs before, like in just small stations, like in North Carolina. They'd fly me out to perform at their station and do a show.
And was that something the label set up, or was it something that just came via your Instagram? Or?
I think they must have reached out to my label. I'm not really sure, to be
gotcha.
honest, how that happened, but I did it.
But was that exciting to go do?
That was definitely exciting to go do, because my songs were getting radio play, and that's crazy. And then I did some of this stuff in New York as well. But I was like, literally, Power 106 was like we waited for the right song to come to you guys with for this, you know, and once like I was told, like, oh yeah, like we're gonna do a mixer meeting at Power 106, I was like, finally, like, damn.
Finally, y'all are doing y'all's jobs.
I was like,
RCA.
hell yeah. I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. And so
they know when the time is right. Too.
I've been in mixer meetings before, like, but with just like 4 people. But I'm not gonna lie, like when I walked in and seen a whole long table full of y'all eating pizza and grubbing, I was like, oh, it's like this. I like, and even John was like, D, you nervous? I was like, I wasn't expecting a lot of people. So that was my first time ever in a room with that many people.
An intimate room like that.
At once.
Yeah.
Like, but I was down, obviously. I'm like, damn, more people, like killing like hella birds with one stone. I was like, let's do it. So, yeah.
You killed it.
It's crazy.
You killed it. And yeah, I can't wait to hear more music. I did want to ask you, you mentioned some of your inspirations, but what are there particular artists that you would like to collab with?
Yes.
I want to hear some of these.
Obviously, Justin Bieber would be one of them, just because he helped me get here.
Justin, come on, let's make it happen. Scooter, what's up, man?
He kind of helped me get here. Yeah, so Bieber would be tight, for sure. Kehlani would be great. Kehlani and I are like, or Kehlani's familiar with me, so that's good.
That's awesome.
And she loves Tomboy, which is good. So I'm not like a stranger to her. Kehlani definitely, just because she's from NorCal, and like you say, you love vibe and energy, and like I literally got just a great vibe from her, and I've been listening to her since she was 19, and I was like 16 or 15 or something like that. But yeah, so her, and then another artist named Her. She
got the slide.
She got the slide joint with YG. But she's also from NorCal. She's from Vallejo, and I just love, one, her sound, and two, that she plays multiple instruments, and she's not afraid to showcase that. And in her performance, like, I love her performances and just watching her perform. Like, I got the chance of watching her perform one time, and that was before she even, like, blew up. So, like, I was able to see her at that moment, and, like, seeing her now is, like, she just came so far because she worked hard. And that's definitely a huge inspiration, motivation.
Well, so wait, I know you play the guitar. I know you dabbled with the drums a little bit, but do you play other instruments besides the guitar?
Yeah, so guitar is my main. I play drums, piano, and bass. My dad would literally just, like, if our bass player called in sick one week, he would just be like, Des, can you play bass? And I was like, sure. So, like, I would bounce back to different instruments, like, every Sunday.
That's amazing.
So I kept the chops up.
Have you ever performed and dabbled with multiple instruments live on stage?
No.
I'd love to see that.
Not yet.
You got to get the guitar, keyboard.
Guitar, keyboard, and like I literally want to have, like, I'm a huge fan of Tori Kelly. When I went to her show, I was 16. She had like a drum off with her drummer. Like, she hopped on a kit and her drummer comes rolling out, and they literally are like facing each other and are literally like just like drumming to each other. And I was like, man, like, I want to do that. Like, it looks so cool. So
you will.
Hopefully I can do it.
You're gonna do a lot, and I can't wait to see, experience part of your journey with you. You know, and I'm excited to see what you and the Stereotypes, continue to do. Mm-hmm. And you're always welcome at Power. This is family.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you live here in LA now.
Yeah.
And congrats on everything.
Thank you.
So
thank you.
I enjoy the holidays.
Thank you very much.
You get to get up. Does your family come down here and visit?
It'd be my mom, my sis, and my niece and nephew that would. But mainly, like, if I have like a free weekend, like, I'll just be like, yo, I'm gonna drive down Friday, and I'll come home Sunday. So like see my grandma, see my
Nice.
aunts and all that.
Nice.
So.
So you get to go chill for about a week or two, huh?
No, I wish.
Oh, just
Not a
days.
week. It just like the weekend, like Friday, like I'll drive up to Lodi, and then Sunday I'll just drive down.
Do you just want to get back down here to get back to work?
That's how it is. Yeah, like obviously like I get homesick sometimes and I miss my family and friends, but like when I get to Lodi and I'm there, I'm just like, damn, like I forgot like how like
The pace
I
goes.
wanted to leave so bad.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I realized
Yeah.
like, okay, this is why I wanted to leave Lodi
Yeah.
so bad. Like I hate it here. Like for sure.
Yeah, there sometimes has to be. You realize what the maximum stay is.
Yeah.
You get your fill.
Right.
You got to get your fill and dip. You know, and you know what though, you shouldn't be ashamed if your family sees it because
No,
they
my
understand.
family knows. My family knows. Like for Christmas, I'm gonna stay out there for like a week or something, and that's my first time staying out there for that long since I moved. And they're like, "No, you're gonna leave sooner. You're gonna leave sooner." I'm like, "No, I'm not." I was like, "I need to stay," and they're like, "All right." They're like, "Cool, whatever." So.
Well, eventually we need to have part 2 of this. And in the meantime, I'm a watch you. I'm gonna pay attention, and I
Absolutely.
can't wait to hear more music.
Absolutely.
You know, and thank you for coming
Thanks
in. And
thanks for taking the time and getting to know me.
Oh,
and all
for
that.
sure.
And when I got a show, you're invited.
I'm there. I'll be right there on the front row.
Hell yeah.
All right, Destiny.
All
Love.
right, appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.